Hey there, hey, it is Michelle with Brilliant Quest, and today we need to talk about sleep. hmm All right, so more and more people are getting less and less sleep at earlier stages in life to the point where it is become an epidemic. And I am going to just start off by saying my quick little suggestions are simply insights and advice. I am not trying to give you any kind of medical information. See your doctor if you need that kind of information. All right, but we are going to get into it. So, what I want to say about getting better sleep is I want to focus on preparing your mind for better sleep. Okay. And so, hopefully, once you get through going through this information, and some of it will be a review for you, you'll take this more seriously so that you can have a greater chance of getting better sleep. Okay. So, the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the mental brainwave states that we go through. And we have four major ones. And the way they work, they have Greek alphabets assigned to them. So we've got beta. Beta is the wakeful state. That's what we're in right now. If you are still paying attention to me, way up. All right. But anyway, we got beta. And a beta, like I said, is the alertness. It is where we spend the majority of our time during the day. The next one underneath that, and these are frequencies of brain activity. So beta is going to be the highest one. The one after that is going to be alpha. Alpha is the daydreamy state. It is the flow state. It is where you have intensified learning. It is where you have mental focus and you're able to reduce stress in the alpha state. Like I said, you're not asleep, but you're really relaxed, trance-like even. Okay. It's that time, if you're trying to figure it out, it's that time right before you fall asleep or right when in between you sleep and being aware of wakefulness. So that's alpha. Then you've got theta. Now, theta is where emotional processing happens. It's where your memories are consolidated, and it's where intuition happens. And then we have delta. Delta is the lowest one. And delta is where you have physical healing and repairs that happen. It's where your immune system is fortified and run through its paces for function. It's also where hormones are released, especially HGH, human growth hormone, so that you can repair tissue. You can repair organs and all those different things. And so it's really important. Okay. So we've got beta, which is wakeful, alpha, which is dreamy, theta, where you have the emotional processing, and delta, where you get the physical processing. Okay. The next thing that I want you to be aware of is this, that when you are mentally preparing your mind to get better sleep, do it understanding what type of circadian rhythm you have. There was a study that just came out this last week that was talking about how companies and people who, work for themselves even need to be more cognizant of their circadian rhythms, because your job could be killing you based on the fact that you're out of alignment with your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is the internal clock that your body keeps. And when you are, everybody sleeps, of course, but when you are trying to figure out what's going to work best for you when it comes to sleep, it's an inherent thing that is something that you're born with how your circadian rhythm works. And so they've given them some little easy to remember names so that you can understand what type of sleeper you are, if you will. So a person who is a morning person, who feels energized, they don't tend to sleep in late, and they have the most energy at the beginning of the day, they call them a lark, L-A-R-K. And so larks are morning people. They're the people that's getting up and doing it. Early bird, getting the worm, and all of that kind of stuff. But then you have people who they really come into their own in the middle of the day. And these are called the hummingbirds. And so they might, get up early, but they don't really start functioning until the middle of the day when they get that kind of boost. But then you have the night owls, or the owls. And the night owls, you can tell you're a night owl if it is hard for you to wake up in the mornings. And if given the chance and you don't have to do anything the next day, you tend to stay up late, or it's hard for you to make yourself go to sleep. You don't go to sleep early, and you don't want to wake up early. So that's a night owl. Okay. And by getting an understanding of that, and not being ashamed of whichever one you're in, it will help you. And it will help you because up until recently, the world was dictated by larks. Larks tried to make owls and hummingbirds feel like if you don't get up early, if you they call it lazy, unfocused, unworthy to have success and all of that. And that's just not the case because of circadian rhythms. It is hard. And I think it is almost criminal to make an owl function like a lark for all of their life so that society won't call them names or belittle them or take opportunities away from them. And so with this article that I mentioned, they talked about this very thing where they're encouraging people to consider that you have different types of circadian rhythms. And instead of trying to make everybody be a lark, consider the fact that you have the other two. And of them, the hummingbirds at this particular time, based on the knowledge that they have, they don't make up as much of a percentage as the larks and the owls do. So those people the hummingbirds tend to behave like the larks because it's not as hard for them to, but because of the stigma of being an owl, they force themselves to. So there are a lot of hummingbirds out here who think they're larks, is what I'm saying. Okay. So now that you understand the circadian rhythm, you understand the different phases of sleep, let's get into it. So there are 4 stages of sleep, and I'm gonna run through these quickly because I want to talk to you about timing. Okay. So like I said, there are 4 stages of sleep, and of these stages, they make up a cycle. And to have healthy sleep, you want to have anywhere between 4 and 6 of these cycles in a night. And the cycles take anywhere from 90 minutes up to a couple of hours to go. The longer you sleep, the longer the cycle becomes. So the first cycle that you have, the first stage of the cycle, is going to be your lightest stage. That's when you're transferring from wakefulness into sleep. And that stage can be as little as 5 to 10 minutes. And it is all about the transition. It's where your muscles relax. It's where your breathing and your heart rate start to slow. It's where you stop being so aware of your surroundings. And like I said, this is the first stage of the first cycle, 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. And this is where you're moving from beta into alpha. Alpha is the daydreamy, down into theta. Theta is where your intuition, it's where you're starting to process emotions and where you're consolidating all the memories from the day. Okay, so that's the first stage, 5 to 10 minutes for the first stage. The second stage, and these are the 4 stages of a cycle of sleep. The second stage is where it gets deeper. It's going to take you 10 to 25 minutes. And this is where you're moving, or if you're not already there, you're into theta. And this is where your brain activity starts to slow. It's where you have your body temperature drops, where you really start moving out of this realm into the realm of sleep, Morpheus, if you will. And then the third stage is the deepest, and it's usually going to be between 20 to 40 minutes. And this stage is delta. Delta is that deep baby sleep where you're not dreaming, you just sleep. All right. And this third stage is where your immune system gets its boost, where human growth hormone is starting to be released, where you start to restore and do the processes of the body. Remember, delta is where the physical healing happens, the hormones are released and that kind of thing. And it's where your brain waves are the slowest. It is where you get down into why we need sleep so that we can do all those repairs from the previous day. But the fourth cycle is it's where you are almost in a state of beta, but you're asleep. It's called the dream sleep. It's the REM sleep. And this is where you have vivid dreams. This is where your learning and memory consolidation happens, and you're moving back and forward from beta to theta. It's where if you're doing tracking on some kind of app for your sleep, it's where you see those little dots that say you were awake, and you're like, no, I wasn't. It's because you're in REM. You're in the fourth stage. Okay. Now I went through those stages because I am now going to move into how to get your mind prepared for this. Now, the thing about these stages is they have a flip. So the third stage, which is the reparative stage, that deep baby sleep, where you're doing a lot of physical healing, it is going to be a longer period when you first start sleeping. But as time goes over, the fourth stage where you're dreaming and you're doing memories consolidation and that kind of stuff, it's the rapid eye movement. It's going to get longer as you go through. Now, y'all stick with me because there's a reason why I'm going through this with you. And like I said, if you already know this, very good. It's always good for a review. The reason why these are important is because your body does most of its reparative work at the beginning of your sleep. Your mind does most of its reparative activity at the end of your sleep. And so that's just one cycle that your body goes through. And remember, as we understand it right now, it takes anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours to go through a cycle. That's why you see the cycles get longer the longer you sleep. So the goal is to have at least 4 of these cycles at night. And it's going to normally take anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. So you do the math. If it takes 2 hours to go through a cycle for you and you get 4 cycles, that's 8 hours of sleep. If it takes 90 minutes for you to go through a cycle and you need 4 cycles, that's 6 hours of sleep. That is why some people can live off of 6 hours. Some people need 8 plus. And the goal is to have a minimum of 4 of these cycles. All right. So getting your mind ready to have better sleep. Let's get into it. And that is, you want to use timing to your advantage. Now, one of the things about consistency is that it rewards you with better time. And this is an area that I have had to work on in recent years. My hormones were out of whack and my sleep schedule was out of whack, and it did me harm. And that is a reason why I really wanted to start understanding more about sleep and how to make it the best tool it can be, because that's what it is. It's a tool to help us survive. And so that means that you need to pick a bedtime range and stick to it. And I said range instead of a bedtime, because what you're going to figure out is when you go to bed dictates how you wake, when you wake, and how your next day goes. If you're all over the place, you go to bed at 10 p.m. sometime, and then the next day you go to bed at 4 a.m., it's not going to work for you. It's just not. Ask me how I know. It's just not. So your mental prep begins when you start setting, instead of an alarm to wake up. Now, I know we all, I don't, well, we wake we set these alarms up, but instead of setting an alarm to wake up, set an alarm to go to bed. That is going to give you more bang for the buck. It's going to keep you healthier, and it's going to help ensure that you will have gone through your cycles by the time it's time for you to wake up. All right. The next thing is you want to develop your time transition into sleep. Don't just leave it to chance. Get active and intentional with developing your timing transition from wakefulness to bed. Well, how do you do that, Michelle? This is how you do it. What you're going to do is, I call them the 3 B's. You're going to brain dump, you're going to breathe, and you're going to have a bedtime story. All right. So if you've been rocking with this channel, you know that I have a routine where I do my journaling at night. And then depending, I don't do this every night, but I do meditation. But what I do, and a lot of times with my meditation, it's kind of like a bedtime story. And how I do this is when I brain dump, what I'm doing is I am making the list for tomorrow. I am making a notation of all of the concerns I have for the day to get them out of my head. I am creating, checking, and updating my shoulds list. And a shoulds list is all the stuff that you say throughout the day. I should do this. And a shoulds list, once you put all that kind of stuff down, or if you create it, you want to come back to it so that you can prioritize the shoulds that really need to get done first, the ones that are nice to have, and then the ones that you're probably not going to get to for a while. But that helps you to get all of that extemporaneous stuff out of your mind that would cause you to be ruminating over it when you lay down and not going to sleep. So that's the brain dump. The next part is to breathe. You want to get in the habit of, once you've done all that stuff, and I'm not just talking, of course you want to do your nightly routines of brushing your teeth and, showering, whatever it is you do. I'm talking about do this in addition. You want to brain dump and you want to breathe. And breathing doesn't have to be that big of a deal. You just take a few moments to really concentrate on your breathing with mental and measured breaths. And what your goal is to do is to release the stale and the pent up air from all the time you spend shallow breathing through the day. Okay. So that's the goal of that one. All right. And then what you're going to do is, once you got that breathing right, you're going to either use an app or tell yourself a delightful situation that you would love to have your last thoughts for the day. And that's going to be your bedtime story. It's amazing to me how we do these things for little kids, but we don't think that they still work when we're adults, but they do. Now, I had another B in here, but I didn't want it to come off like you got to do this. But the other B is bathe. And studies have shown that when you take a shower, a bath, or whatever, most people think it's because you're getting relaxed. No, it's the opposite. When you're taking your shower or your bath, your body is responding to the rise in temperature. And so once you get out of the bath and you get ready and you lay down, your body rushes to regulate that heat, which helps to knock you out so that you sleep deeper. Now, remember I talked about how in the third stage, where you're doing your physical health and all of that, that it happens earlier in the cycles. This is why you want to have this mind prep routine, so that your body will quickly get into this delta situation, so that you can start getting your body repaired. It can work on your immune system, and you can get that human growth hormone release because it's really going to help you. And it will help you to stay asleep deeper and longer. Now, I will say, because I need it, I have a pad. I use a 8 sleep pad, and I have it set where, depending on what time of the year it will have it really cold when I get into the bed, or it'll have it moderate. But that has also helped me. So temperature regulation. Another one is sound. Do you need white noise, fan, a fan, or do you need it like people talking? I don't like that one. The TV, don't do that one. Try not to do that one because that one messes with your sleep later on. But if you need to, make it extremely dark by wearing a mask, put on some sounds, or put in the ear stopper so that you can have it quiet, so that you can get into that sleep, because both at the beginning and at the end of your sleep is important, as well as getting those cycles. And you need your body repaired for the next day. And if you take too long to get into those beginning stages of sleep where your delta is trying to work to do all that stuff for you, it's not going to go well for you, because you might sleep, but you might get degraded amounts of deep sleep. And then, like I said, they switch off. So at the beginning, the third stage of sleep where you're getting into delta and the physical repair happens. But then they have a switchover point where the fourth stage, which is the dream stage, that's the emotional processing, intuition, memory consolidation, that tends to get longer at the end. And so you need both of them. And the second part is dependent on how well the first part goes. And so that is why you want to be cognizant of how important it is to put yourself in a great situation for better sleep, because it's really needful. So much so that I was like, you know what? It might sound like Captain Obvious, but we need sleep, and we need to know how to mentally prepare our minds for sleep. So let me do a quick recap on that. Okay. So with mentally preparing your mind for sleep, what you want to do is you want to pick a sleep range and stay within it. Even if it's the weekend, stay within this range. Don't pick a time, pick a range. The next thing is set an alarm for when you go to bed. Yeah, you can keep your alarm for when you wake, but if you set an alarm for when you go to bed and you stick to that alarm or that range, if you will, it will be easier for you to get up. The next thing is, bear in mind if you are a lark, an owl, or a hummingbird, and try to get your livelihood, the hours that you work, to conform to your natural circadian rhythms. It is better to work with them than to try to fight them. All right. And lose this stigma about being an owl. Okay. I'm an owl. And just lose that stigma. Okay. You're working within your natural circadian rhythm. All right. Then the next thing is you want to work on the B's. You want, and this is so that you can develop a nightly transition into sleep. So you want, and I'm going to include the fourth one as well. You want to brain dump, breathe, bedtime story, bathe. All right. All of these will work together to help you have a higher possibility of having better sleep. So brain dump all the stuff out that would plague you through sleep. Get your list of, create your list of what you want to get done the next day. Do your shoulds list, or update your shoulds list. And the next thing is breathe. Have measured breathing, where you are focused and intentional on breathing in and breathing out stale and pent up air. Don't hyperventilate. That's why it's measured. But make sure that you do that so that you can oxygenate your brain and give your body more oxygen, so that when it sleeps, it will be able to do more in its reparative work. And then bedtime story. Bedtime story comes after bath, but I'll go and do bedtime story. Bedtime story. Either turn on an app that, does bedtime meditation, or tell yourself a nice little ditty, of something that you wouldn't it be nice? Oh, this is cool. Think happy thoughts is what I'm saying. And then bathe. Now this is up to you. It doesn't matter. It can just, help you. Take a shower before you go to bed. It will help you sleep deeper, longer, and better. All right. All right. So thank you so much. What I would like for you to do is I would like for you, if you've made it to this point, to go into the comments, and I would like for you to do bathe. Write the word bathe. No, bath. Just bath. Just write bath. B-A-T-H. Write bath in the comments. Let me know you made it there, and that you're really part of the Brilliant Quest Beauties and Bows. All right. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check the links in the description for how to support the channel, how to book a one-on-one with me, any resources that are listed. And then I want you to go on to this next video, and I want you to watch the next one for continuation of your Brilliant Quest. So this has been Michelle, your big sis with Brilliant Quest. Bye.